What's happening, hardscapers? This is episode 224 of the How to Hardscape podcast, where we talk about how you can start and grow your hardscaping business. And on today's episode, we have another I Am a Hardscaper mashup. This is where we take all the previous years' I Am a Hardscaper interviews, where we do a one-on-one sit down with a hardscape business owner and do a deep dive into their business. Now, I ask very similar questions each and every interview, and we take one of those questions and round up all of our guests' answers to those questions. And on today's episode, our question is, what do you charge, or do you charge for consultations? Yes or no, why or why not? And we always get some interesting answers from this question, so it's always good to hear what other people are doing, whether they charge, if they do, why or why not, as well as some have some very unique ways to go about charging for these consultations. But before we get into today's episode, I want to say thank you to our sponsors, Cycle CPA. If you're looking for bookkeeping, accounting, CFO services, reach out to Cycle CPA at cyclecpa.com. Let them know How to Hardscape sent you for $200 off their services there. And InLight Outdoor Lighting, if you're looking to add a service to your hardscaping business and aren't already installing outdoor lighting, I do highly recommend it. And InLight Design, that's INLITE Design on Instagram, is a great account to follow for some inspiration, or message them to get that conversation started if you're looking to add outdoor lighting to your hardscaping business. And also, for those of you looking to add a software to your business, the How to Hardscape headquarters is upgrading very shortly with some features, including refining our time tracking, our scheduling. And there's a lot of cool features coming in before the end of the year. As we add more features, the price does increase each month for the software. But if you are an existing user, that price increase will not reflect on you. So if you sign up, you lock in your price, and it's a little bit of an incentive to grow along with us with this software. And if you want to learn more about that, the best way to do that is just shoot me a message on Instagram at How to Hardscape if you're interested in signing up for a demo, or if you want me to send you a link to our videos on it so that you can just learn about it on your own time. And without further ado, let's get into today's episode.
Hey, my name is Joel Johnson with Hatton Landscape, and I am a hardscaper. So I don't charge. Again, this is something we've been kind of kicking around for this year. I brought in someone we're getting involved with, synced up, kind of doing a lot of business change, trying to build out our infrastructure a lot more. So we've talked and been really back and forth on that, but currently we don't, and we have it. And the justification or reason behind it, I mean, I know there are quite a few companies in the area that do charge. So yeah, I think I don't have a lot of justification for why we don't. For me, as a kind of a company, that's has been working for years to really get our name into the local market, and become a good option. I wanted to go to every lead, shake every hand, and even if we're the guy where we got a quote for Hatton and it was expensive, hey, they're talking about it. So it's just like, I kind of wanted to just chase every squirrel, if you will. But I think as we develop, and kind of hone our process and are getting better leads, I think it's important that we do, even if it's just a basic cost of like $50. I don't think that we'll ever be charging several $100s to go look at someone's house. But I think just that initial investment, I think, helps your customer open their email when things come through, or gives them kind of that buy-in or that investment into the project as well. I see the value in why to charge, but again, we aren't currently doing that.
I am Alex Altschuler, the owner of Seal It Group. We specialize in sealing and restoration and landscape construction. I am a hardscaper. Yeah, so that's something that it's kind of a very controversial topic. I think a lot of companies are struggling with, should we charge, should we not? And I've kind of been in the same boat for the last couple of years. And I actually tried out last year to start charging for estimates, because obviously it's a lot of time. It's a lot of time that goes into these estimates, and a lot of time it's overlooked, and you underestimate, of course, how much you're going to spend on that. Like you think you're going to go out, it's going to be an hour meeting. It's probably going to take you an hour to come up with the estimate, so 2 hours. But by the time all said and done, maybe it takes you 4 hours, and you didn't charge for that extra 2 hours. So you think, okay, well, maybe I can charge for estimates and compensate. So last year I tried to implement I think it was a $250 or $300 estimate fee, which as part of that pre-qualification process I was talking about earlier, where it's the email we send out asking with all the job details and pictures, we notify them that there will be that $300 estimate fee for coming out, and consulting with them. And then, but if they end up doing the job, we waive that fee. And to be honest with you, the response last year wasn't good at all. Like
Okay.
most people were not really for it. They were kind of caught off guard, and they weren't really about it. So we found that a lot of leads were lost in the beginning, with people just kind of replying, well, this is not really what we were expecting. So they at that point they're thinking, well, why am I going to pay $300 when I can just find a company that's giving free estimates, right? So it's a hard kind of thing to try and understand it. Is it worth it or not? Because I think it really depends as well on your business model. So, long story short, I got rid of that, and I just kind of had to go with the free estimate, as always. And with that, obviously, just strengthening up the pre-qualification process to ensure that when you're going to site, you're not wasting as much time. So you're as efficient and productive as possible.
I've heard a lot of different ways about going about the consultation rate. I don't charge a consultation rate. I don't think my brand is where I want it to be, to a point where, it makes sense to charge, I guess, a consultation rate based on that. Maybe sometime in the future. I try to work it into my overhead personally to make sure I'm getting recouped on that time anyways, which would be similar
Nice.
to like charging it and then reimbursing it if they go ahead with you, right? So lots of
That's a,
different
that's
ways
a
that people
cool
can go
model.
about it. Yeah.
That's a really cool model, actually. To be basically, it's kind of like it appears to the client that it's a free estimate, but you're making sure that you're compensated for it. It's built into your overhead, and that way you're getting paid for your time, but they don't really have to know that, right? So
Exactly.
you're not losing out. You're making, every hour of your time back.
Yeah.
Um, that's amazing. So how exactly do you do that? Do you put it into your overhead as like an estimated amount of hours that you think you would spend per
Yeah, I
year?
just I just go off of like my salary, and I look at how many jobs I quoted last year, and I figure out like an average of how long it took me for that. So then I've got like the
Nice.
amount of hours, and then I just add in a little bit of that versus like what I would get paid essentially for that time. So it's not like
Nice.
an hour amount, it's a dollar amount that I put into my overhead.
Beautiful. I love that.
Yeah. That's just for now, that's the way I'm doing it. Maybe in the future we'll get into doing consultation rates, but who knows? I figure the pushback would be very similar to what you got there when I start doing that. So trying to kick that can down the road as much as possible here.
Hey, my name is Alex Castelline. I am the owner operator of Cassie Landscape Group. We specialize in luxury living in the outdoors, and I am a father and owner of a lasagna company as well. And I am at first a hardscaper. Based on the read that I get in the first place and kind of what their wish list is, if they have if they've done their research and they're serious, they're not just, kicking tires going, oh, I want to maybe do this, maybe do that. We haven't decided. Then I might see how serious they are by offering to do a consultation at a charge. If they say no, then that's answers your question. They were never serious in the first place. If people are okay with, paying for a consultation, we'll do the consultation. We'll just never charge them. And then, they go, oh, wow, that's really nice. How come you were going to charge me? And I was like, oh, you guys seem serious and you can play it off. In that way, and they'll go, wow, we appreciate that. You obviously have some ethics. You didn't just come and charge us for a consult and then not follow up with anything. So But you know, we try to show a lot of professionalism through our approach, from initial consult, talking to them about what their wish lists are, and inspirations for the yard and how they want to use the yard. And we follow that up very promptly with like a follow-up email and an estimate based on their wish list of like a bulk of a rough, idea project. We'll send past designs of other jobs so they can see, what our design consult package looks like. You just say, here's a yard we designed, here are the pictures, here's a rough estimate of what this project cost, without actually giving the full breakdown, just so that we protect people's, privacy. And then we show them kind of afters of that project after after we've completed it. And so we kind of show them like an example like quote and design package, and then from there we tell them this is what you can expect, and they go, wow, it's very professional, like obviously you guys know what you're doing. And you just start to build that trust through these conversations, and just being engaging through all of it. When people email you, they don't want to wait a day for a response. They expect nowadays a response within 10 minutes. So yeah. I'm constantly on my phone answering questions, and that's what people like. People like just the response time, and just, you engaging with them about things and answering questions and walking them through everything. Because for most people, these projects are the first big renovation they've done. So they don't know what to expect. They don't know what questions to ask. So we just have kind of a list of things that we go through with them to help them become more comfortable with who they're working with, I guess. So
definitely. Yeah, I like that idea with the consult fee, and then getting there just to pre-qualify them, right? If they say no because that, it's probably not the best client for you, but if they're serious and you get there, it's a great thing to waive for them to be like, oh, that's amazing that you would do that for us.
Yeah, and we've heard of a lot of examples of people doing that. And, I hate to say it, but, through COVID and stuff, a lot of contractors have turned into hotheads, and they go, oh, how busy we are. You don't appreciate my time. Why would you complain that I'm charging you this? Like, you should be thankful I'm not charging you more for a consultation. I've heard of so many homeowners. We land projects because the guy that came in before me was just a dick. And, if you're going to have that attitude that, oh, I'm Mr. Big Shot, I don't need your business, then, I thank those people, because we'll end up landing the job right after them by just giving good service.
Definitely.
So, my name is Giovanni, better known as Johnny Giovanni. I'm the designer and owner of Stoneworthy, and I'm a hardscaper. So before, in the past, we wouldn't charge, but now, like I said, obviously we have a good amount of phone calls coming in a day, where it puts me in a position where I can't see everybody. So if you're within like a 5-10 minute radius, I definitely will go out there, especially if it's in the town where our office is. I'll go out there free of charge, because I want to help and I want to be, in the community. But now we started charging anywhere between like $150 and $250 for me to go on site. And it's not that, I need the money. I mean, we donate the money. So we pick charities now, and, that money gets donated. And if they go with us at the end of the job, we'll match that donation. So like, if I charge them $200 to go out there, at the end, I'll donate it. But we started doing that. And like I said, it's not to deter, like, by no means like tire kickers or anybody, but it's like, like I just, I'm only one person, and, I don't plan to scale out to become a bigger company, just because, like I said, I want to make sure that we have our quality control, and that every job reflects, our name and our design, and everything is, as perfect as it can be, if that makes sense. So, I know a lot of these companies and try to scale up and be the biggest company they can, and nothing's wrong with that. But I'm very oriented in making sure we have the quality control down as a company.
Gotcha. And then when I've always liked the idea of donating the initial consultation, because at least it pre-qualifies the client that they're buying into something, but at least they also know that money is going to a good cause. Do you let them know beforehand that, hey, we charge for consultation, but this consultation money will go to a charity? or do you let them know after the fact, so that they actually do kind of buy into the consultation as opposed to justifying that it does go to charity? What's your thought process around that?
Yeah, I mean, so it's something that we just started doing recently, and I'll let them know. I'm just like, hey, it's not that I need the money. It's just that, there's charities out there, and we have a few charities that I truly believe that they deserve the money. So it's like, I'm all about, helping and giving back. And, I'm not just picking any charity. So like I said, we have a list, that definitely, will donate that money to. But I do let them know. I'm just like, hey, well, if you want me to come out, it's definitely, I'll be like, hey, it's a $125 charge. But, that money gets donated to charity, whether if you want to send it to us, through PayPal, or if you want to do it on your behalf, just send me confirmation and we'll get it penciled in the calendar.
I just want to take a break from today's episode to talk about our sponsor, Cycle CPA. You may have a CRM or project management software in place, but what data are you using to ensure your estimating is accurate? Having a proper accounting setup and accurate bookkeeping done is key to understanding overhead expenses and other costs that must be recouped in your estimates. Cycle CPA is a remote bookkeeping and CFO firm that helps to connect the dots from the financial reports to the hardscape and landscape data needed in order to reach high profits. They provide landscape and hardscape industry benchmarking, job costing, financials by service line, advisory meetings, and much more. Cycle CPA's team of accountants are specialized within the hardscape and landscape industry, and you can visit them at cyclecpa.com, and for $200 off, mention the How to Hardscape podcast. Now back to our episode.
Hi, I'm Scott Elam. I am the owner-operator of Infinity Lawn and Landscaping, and we specialize in outdoor living spaces and landscape design. I am a hardscaper. So one thing in our area, nobody charges. It seems like we do charge for design work, but the consultation, no. So if you call me to a project and I come in and I vet you and I meet with you, I try to get a little more information, what's your goal here? And some people have everything written down to a T. Some people go, I have no idea what I want to do here. And you try to get, there's some jobs you go, do you have a budget? And they go, no. So you go, okay, then you start asking questions. What do you want to do? What do you like? Do you like a water feature? Do you like a fire feature? Do you like a kitchen? Do you like to cook? Do you want to sit outside in the shade? Do you mind the full sun? Just different. You try to get information from them if they have no idea. And you ask them questions. Do you like to entertain? What size space do you need? You try to get an idea of what they want. And then when they go, these are the things I want, I'm adding those up in my head. Okay, a fire pit. Okay, a grill island. Okay, a pergola, seating area that's about 500 square. You start adding them up, and you don't give them a number, but you give them a range. You're like, okay, you're somewhere in the $50,000 to $70,000 range. Does that work for you? And they're either like, yeah, that's okay, or whoa, no, I have 15 grand to spend. I'm like, okay, well, we can get you the best space for that budget. What would you like to take out? What would you like to do in phases? What would you like to concentrate on right now for that budget? And that really helps people, because some of these people that have no idea how much things cost, you can, before you even leave that job, if I'm leaving that job, I'm doing a drawing and you're going to pay for that drawing, or you might need to think a little bit more about it, budget a little more money, put more money aside for what you want, and we can readdress it next year, or phase it out. Hey, we can do this section this year, we can add the kitchen next year, the following year we can add the fire pit, and then it works for them. So by the time I'm leaving that job, you have a good idea of what they're going to spend, if they're going to spend it, and if you're one to put pen to paper, you have a deposit check for that job. And then we credit, if they go with us, we credit that back to them towards the job.
My name's Jake. I'm the owner operator of JFS Property Care, and I am a hardscaper. I toyed with that for a while, and I still toy with it. I don't charge to go out to customers' houses. When COVID hit and fuel was like, I don't know, $6 a gallon for diesel, I would usually charge people like 25 or $50, depending on where they were, just to go and look at it. But since fuel has come down, I mean, I haven't done that because it's hard to compete at that rate. Everybody now is offering free quotes, you know what I mean? So it's hard if I lose out on a possible, big job because I wanted $50 to go look at, I'd be really, really upset with myself. And a lot of people say, well, if that person's not willing to spend 50, then they're not going to be your customer. And, that is the case in some aspect for sure. But you can also, when you get there, you can talk somebody into doing a lot bigger project than what they're originally talking about, or turn them in a different direction. There's a lot of variability there, but I don't charge for them just because I'm not really too comfortable doing it yet. I would, if I was a customer, I'd be like, you're going to come out and charge me $50 to look at my windows. No, I don't think so. So just not something for me yet. Maybe in the future. At this time, we don't charge for them, but we do, we'll come up and we'll meet at the consultation and we'll kind of go over the project and, see what they want to do.
I'm Mark Arsenault. I'm the owner of Green Monster Landscapes in Dover, New Hampshire, specializing in hardscape and stonework, and I am a hardscaper.
Got it. And then, so that initial consultation, do you charge for it? Yes or no? And why or why not?
I haven't been. I mean, I know there's a lot of new talk about that, and I think about it a lot. So I don't charge directly to the customer. I've had this argument with a few guys, and I don't know. I don't charge directly to the customer, but like it's in my budget as unbillable time that I'm spending every year, like looking at jobs. So I guess to some degree, it's kind of, maybe it, irks me a little bit, like the people that don't hire me sort of get the free consultation. It's free to them, but someone else is paying for it because it's, people that are actually hiring us. That's where it's built in. So, I mean, I guess I'm not opposed to it. I don't know. It's just, 20 years of not doing it, but I do feel like there is a need for it. But it's also when I see that a job has the potential to be a significant project, that's also why I try to get into so the free estimate basically on that is it's just me whipping out a canned estimate on the design and send it off. So, once they're committed to the design, it's all billable from there on out.
And I'm the same thing. I don't do paid consultations either. And with that being said, you did mention trying to get them signed up, especially if it's a larger job for that design. Where does that conversation start? And is that a deal breaker to go out there for that initial consultation? Are you trying to sign up larger jobs for a design prior to that initial consultation or afterwards? Or is that kind of flexible as well?
Yeah, I guess it's flexible. I mean, more and more of our work the past 3 or 4 years has been the larger scale projects. And there's just too much going on in them that, it's one thing to go do a patio, with a hand sketch or myself and my guys, we've been doing this long enough and they're good enough that it's all right, here's it's a 12 by 18 patio or whatever. And this is the field and this is the border. And they can handle that. They don't really even need a sketch. That I could whip them up a little sketch and this is the pattern or whatever. But that's smaller stuff really. A can of spray paint and, the estimate or the proposal with the description of what we're doing is sufficient. But when you get into these projects that, have multiple elements to them, and grades and different products, and it makes sense to have the design. You really can't do them effectively without them, because then you're figuring out what to do on site. And either we're going to pay for that because we didn't figure that time in, or it's time and materials, and the customer's going to pay. They're going to pay for it either way. They're going to pay for your time on site to figure this stuff out, or they're going to pay ahead of time and know exactly what they're going to get by having a design.
You work hard to build a successful business, and because of this, it is important to work with companies that you can trust, rely on, and whose missions are to give you the highest quality product and customer support. Low voltage outdoor lighting is one of the easiest ways for you to grow your business and increase revenue. Using lighting can make you more profit, add that wow factor, and make your business stand out. Whether you are already using outdoor lighting in your hardscape projects or not, it's time you check out InLight Outdoor Lighting. As a professional hardscaper, we know that you need efficient installs, less callbacks, and premium products to have a successful and growing business. InLight's got you covered. They've created some of the most premium and unique lighting on the market to make your project stand out and wow your clients with their unmatched light quality. It gets better. InLight has an unbeatable customer support team, provides many educational resources like online and in-person training, installation videos, and so much more. They care about your business growth and will be with you every step of the way. For more information on how InLight can help you grow your business, check them out on Instagram at InLight Design. That's at INLITE Design on Instagram. DM them to find out how to put more money in your pocket this season. Now back to the podcast.
My name is Stephen Lisk. My company is Lisk Landscape Innovations. We specialize in stormwater management, and I am a hardscaper. I think the end goal, at the end of the day, is not to, time is valuable. You can't be chasing leads that are dead leads, and your time is valuable. And I probably started charging consultation fees almost 10 years ago now, and that was mainly for drainage. And I think I had charged $65 or $75 back then. Just something a little bit for our time, because otherwise I was getting 8 to 10 leads a day. I just couldn't go on, and I just wanted to see who was serious. I was always willing to spend the time on the phone with them. But to drive out to each one of these people with your own personal gas and all that and write up a quote. So I eliminated that. And so now we have it down, whereas if they email or if they call in, we take the call. My personal assistant accepts that, gets that, and we have pre-written scripts that they're automatically emailed. So an initial phone call is set up, right? First, about 15-minute phone call, just to see if I can give them an idea or a ballpark, right, of it. Because some people, look, they're not prepared to spend 50 grand. They're just not. And if that's the case, then, we just didn't waste either one of our time. So I think it's good. And and by the end of that conversation, most people are very, very comfortable by basically set them a consultation fee. So it's $250 for an on-site evaluation. It's credited towards the cost of the job. And most of those, I would say at least 50% of those convert, because normally I try to give them some sort of ballpark number, and I'll even, open up, they send me photos. So I review everything that they have, and I even pull up some of their stuff online, and I can usually troubleshoot what they have right there and then. So they're very comfortable by usually paying that $250 consultation fee. So it's not like they're calling the office and we're saying, hey, it's $250. And they're like, for what? Like, what am I getting? So I think building the trust is the most important thing with the client. And it's just going to save you so much time and make you become a lot more efficient.
That's quite an early time to adopt the consultation fee. What was it like in your market? Was it something that nobody else was doing, or was this something that, it was more like a stormwater management company to charge a consultation fee, so people were used to it? Was there any pushback from clients?
A little bit of both. Yeah, a little bit of both. Definitely getting pushed. Some people were like, look, I totally understand, and they paid it. But there was a lot of people that would get mad. And, I tried to spend as much time as I could to give them a little bit of value ahead of time. But, you have to separate the people. Time is valuable. You got to be paid for your time. But it was very hard back then. But I think a majority of the people understand it because it was it was a little bit different than hardscape landscape. Like, I don't usually charge for those consults. Like, if they call in, I will give them the process, and I have a whole packet and process that I can provide to them ahead of time, and then they'll know what they're going to spend. So to engage us, they know they're going to have to pay X amount of dollars for a design, right? So I'll usually meet them with them for free, because otherwise I can't really get the ball rolling for the project. I can give them ballpark pricing. Hey, this is going to be between $50,000 and $75,000, or this is going to be between, $100,000 and $150,000. Here are the fees associated with that. You're going to have a building architect. You have the landscape architect, right? You have the civil engineer. Maybe we have a structural engineer, possibly. So you can give them all them costs, and at that point in time, they'll let you know if they want to meet you on site. So it saves a whole lot of time. It's a lot of stuff that we can just do on the phone rather than meeting in person, where you're essentially doing the same thing.
Right.
Hey, I'm Shane Herbert. I'm the owner of Royal Stone and Masonry, and I am a hardscaper. So the reason why I don't charge on my consultations, because like I said, I work in an area where there's so much competition that everybody out here gives free estimates, no matter what. We just on Long Island alone, again, there's like almost 50 masons, 50 hardscapers who will go out there and they will, give a free estimate. They'll give them their time. My consultations take anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour and a half, depending on how serious the job is. But it's very hard to charge for your consultation out here, unless you get like so seriously booked out. I know there's some people who, because I like networking, I like talking to other contractors and pick their brains and see how they do stuff. And they were contemplating on charging, but the thing is, that is a good way to separate the serious people, the serious customers, from the people who are just shopping. But I feel like it would hurt the business, especially in the market where I am.
Thank you for listening to today's podcast episode. You can check out more from each of these guests by going back into our catalog and searching for their name on Spotify or on Apple Podcasts, or just going back and finding their episode and learning more about their business on that full length episode. And while you're there on the podcast app, it would be greatly appreciated if you left us a 5-star rating and review. On Apple Podcasts, you can leave a rating and a written review. On Spotify, you can only leave a rating, but those ratings and reviews really help us going forward with this podcast. So I would very much appreciate that if you're already listening, not driving, and have the time to just pull out your phone and click a couple of times to give us that rating and review. I am all out of written reviews to go over on the podcast. So if you do leave a written review, we'll definitely read it out live on the podcast here. And we want to say thank you to our sponsors, Inlight Outdoor Lighting. If you're looking to add outdoor lighting to your hardscaping business, follow them on Instagram, Inlight Design. That's INLITE Design, at least for some inspiration, but you can also get that conversation started there by shooting them a message if you're looking to add hardscape lighting to your business. And Cycle CPA, if you need bookkeeping, accounting, CFO services, reach out to Cycle CPA at cyclecpa.com. Let them know How to Hardscape sent you for $200 off their services there. And we look forward to meeting you next week on the How to Hardscape podcast.